Hi friends, strangers, internet. My name is EmilyHanhan. I love colorful makeup and colorful language. And today I'm here with a less expected topic, maybe, for me. And that is talking about neutral eyeshadows. My favorite neutral single eyeshadows. Shimmer edition. I'm not saying there's going to be a matte edition. I'm just saying that they're all shimmers. That was the weird way of saying that. So a commenter left me this suggestion. If I can find the comment, I will put it on the screen. If not, I'm very sorry. I'm getting better about tracking that kind of stuff. But thank you so much to anyone that recommends a video idea. Sometimes I'm just like, yes, I will do this right away. Also, I haven't checked my lipstick. Let me see what that looks like in person. I know this video is not about lipstick or my mouth, but I am on camera. So anyway, so I pulled out a palette full of shadows I consider neutral that I love or appreciate or respect. I don't know. Some of these are more well loved by me than others, but others just felt like they fit the assignment. And here's the thing. I am not huge on neutral makeup. I really enjoy color. I enjoy texture and shine and sparkle as well. So my version of neutral is going to be different than what a lot of people might consider neutral. It may or may not fit your bill as to what you're looking for in neutral shadows. This is neutral to me. This is neutral or neutral adjacent. And here's how I thought about this assignment. I thought about golds. I thought about peaches. I thought about kind of like taupey, mauvey kind of tones, and anything that was brown or brown adjacent. But you will see as we go through, I have multichromes, I have duochromes, I have very sparkly shadows, I have shadows that are in lighter in depth and ones that are more like deeper. I really didn't dig deep into my iridescent shadows except for like one in particular, because I feel like that's a whole other world. But I would say for me, all of these shadows could be one shadow looks for me. And that kind of, when I think about single eyeshadows that are in this neutral family, one shadow looks are kind of like my sweet spot. They're my happy place. They're the like neutrally tones that make me excited. So I'm gonna do hand swatches of all of these. We're gonna get as up close and personal as we can. I will tell you the shadow name. If I have any comparable ones that I can think of that I don't own, I will mention that. I say that because there's one shadow in particular right at the beginning that makes me think of another one that I don't own that I can reference to. I believe all of these are still available or being manufactured by the brands. I say manufactured because, you know, some brands do pre-orders or they just have like timed days or, you know, announcements for restocks. I will link whatever I can, whether or not they are actively selling it. If there is a, you know, posting for the shadow, I will link it. With most indie shadows, I'm not making any money on linking it. And I also have a couple of like runner-ups that have come from palettes, but I will, you know what, I'll wait till we get there. But everything else are singles that you can pick up and add to your collection. And I think that like if you are new to the single eyeshadow world, or if you are new to texture or sparkle or shine, or you want to like dip your toe in and you have neutral palettes that you like, you have makeup that you like, but you just want you want to play, but you don't really want to commit to like a whole palette, I think picking up singles is a nice way to do it. Like a little quad from one brand could be a great way to start. That's like my favorite way to recommend. It's like pick up a little $2 Makeup Forever palette, fill it with 4 shadows, and then use that with your, pre-made palettes. That is my like way to gateway people into single eyeshadows. Anyway, if you are new here, if you like colorful makeup or neutral makeup, especially if you like sparkle, shine, multichromes, duochromes, or you just like bitches with lots of opinions, or cute fat babes, I hope you will subscribe. I also have a Patreon and YouTube membership down below that you can join to support me further. There's lots of other ways to support in the description box, and I appreciate everyone, all the little things that you do to support me. Now, let's jump into this neutral-ish single eyeshadow show-off time. I don't know what I'm calling it. Anyway, let's get into this. So in terms of the first color range I'm going to talk about golds. But I have to admit that there are some shadows in here that definitely go into the green area. Look, green to me is a gateway into color if you're into neutral. I also love green, so just give me that. But the first shadow up is from Clionadh Cosmetics. It is called Corrosion. So Corrosion is this gold with a red base. It has some depth to it at certain angles. That's where the kind of the red comes out more. And it definitely has some texture to it, but depending on how you apply it, you can get something that's a little smoother. The other thing that I thought about with Corrosion is that if you are looking at JD Glow, I believe JD Glow 365 is in the same area as Corrosion in terms of a beautiful gold shadow option. So I don't own 365, but you will see that I have JD Glows that I love and I highly recommend them. But this is Corrosion. Again, a gold with a red base, beautiful shine and texture. The next shadow up, speaking of JD Glow, is a color called Limelight. Limelight owns a piece of my heart, and this is absolutely going into the green area. So if you're looking for like gold, I'm not going to recommend Limelight, but if you are tempted by golden olives with a ton of shine, Limelight. Limelight is a Metallon. So I love the JD Glow Galaxy formula, but I also have some of their Metallons, and I think they are quite nice. And I think the Metallon range has a lot more neutrals in it. But Limelight gives you chartreuse, it gives you olive, but it does give you some essence of gold. Look, I know you're probably looking at that like, what? Gold? Excuse me? I know. But when you pair it with browns, it can definitely lean more neutral. And then when you pair it with greens, like with other green mattes or shimmers, it's going to give you more of that green pop. I could not mention it because it's just such a beautiful formula. You see how smooth that is? It's like, I always say this is like gold leaf or like gold foil. The Metallic formula is really beautiful. It looks very flaky, but when you apply it to the eye, especially if you have a base of some sort down, it goes very, very smooth. This is Limelight next to two other gold adjacent shadows. This is Corrosion. This is Vermillion, which we'll talk about next. So you can see it definitely has green to it, but I think of it as a green gold. Okay, we'll just stop there. I'll stop trying to convince you. Now the next color up is Vermillion. This is also from Cleona. Now, I want to be honest and tell you that Vermillion is not a favorite for me, in that it's just not a color that I have reached for a lot. So I saw it in my collection and I felt like it really fits the bill and it would be a shame not to mention it. I'm just not actually a huge gold eyeshadow person, but I should give the shadow a little bit more love. So Vermillion gives you bronze, it gives you gold, and like it looks so green to me right here in the camera. It's such a beautiful shadow. I feel like the gold shows up in the, I mean, even in the pan on the camera, it looks more bronze. But in person, I feel like you get bronze, you get gold to bronze to green. I did so many mirror swatches and now I'm like struggling. You can see it, yeah, you can like, and it gets even more green than it's showing, but you can also see the like old gold that's kind of in there. It's a beautiful shadow. It's one of their black based multichromes, I believe. So it's a much smoother formula than, say, Corrosion. It's not sparkly textured in that way, but I would say if you are a bronze brown like lover, this is such a fun one to play with because you get that green, you get that little bit of old gold. It's a really, really cool shadow. Don't underestimate a multichrome for a neutral look. Now, peach is a neutral for me. Peach is my, I feel pretty, I feel comfortable, I feel all of the good things kind of color. So it's a neutral for me. I could talk about a lot of like peach shadows or peach items. I just pulled two because I know it's not a neutral for everyone. And again, because I am a lover of shifts and all of that, I don't know how peach either of these are going to appear. This shadow is Terra Moon's Meteorite, and this is one of their less expensive but still beautiful duochromes. So they have like a handful. I own a handful of them. And you can, I hope you can see, I mean, it's almost looking more taupey on camera. When I pulled this, I thought it was peach. Maybe it's almost like taupey gold to green. I'm doing an absolute, like, but there's something about it that I really thought of it as peach, and now I'm like, you are wrong. The mirror game is a struggle today, so I apologize. But Meteorite is, I guess I'm thinking it's more of gold to green with a little taupey color. This would be beautiful if you're like only shimmer over matte, or just an inner corner pop on a more matte neutral look, or not even a matte neutral look, but just for the inner corner like that would be really cool, because depending on, you know, the angle you're at, you're going to get different effects from this. And I really think those less expensive duochromes from Terra Moons are incredibly underrated. Like, I love a lot of their more expensive iridescent chameleons, but I also think, I was going to show you the swatch, but I just wiped it off. But I also think things like Meteorite, Andromeda, Europa, Snow Globe, they're stunning. I couldn't talk about Peach. I couldn't talk about it without talking about Vermillion. I am such a little slut for Vermillion. Vermillion, oh my god, it looks so bronze on camera. This is like peach, bronze, pink, gold. Maybe peach is the wrong category for this. It looks so pink on camera. Oh my gosh. And this is what I love about it, is that you will catch the light. See, at this angle you can kind of see the bronzy base. So this is a deep iridescent from Clionadh, so you get like, you don't have a black base, but you have all of this extreme shift. Why is the mirror so hard today? Yeah, you're not getting any of the peachiness, or what I think of as peachiness, but it's so, it's that goldy, bronzy, hot pink, and you can like diffuse this over the eye to get a really interesting look. Oh, there you can kind of see the gold. And see, yeah, yes. Thank you, mirror. Thank you, hands, for cooperating. Like, it's just so interesting. I've used this color with peach mattes. I just saw a friend do a look with like a deep berry matte and then use this kind of color. They were using Venus from Terra Moons, is very close to Vermillion from Clionadh. I love the deep iridescent in Vermillion. I really want more in this realm. I like that it's bright, but then the gold, kind of bronzy tones, like, can make it work with a lot of softer or more neutral looks. This is pretty extreme, I know, for what people might think of as neutral, but this is just like true love. I think for me it's the hot pink. It's the way it flashes hot pink. Bronzes and golds are not my favorite, but I think because the bronze has that peachiness that I view it as, that it pairs well with other peach tones, and then that hot pink is just... Now, the next three, we're heading into like mauvey, taupey, that weird zone of like, I don't really know what this is, but I love it. And Opulent from Clionadh is another winner. It's looking very rose gold on camera right now, but at some angles it looks more cool toned. It looks so rose gold. This is, I think it's one of their glitter formulas. It's very pigmented, but it's also textured. You can see that flash of cool in the mirror. Yes, so it's very textured, and it's a color that I will absolutely use as a one and done, but I can also use it just on the lid with other mattes or other shimmers. I always find that colors that kind of straddle the line between cool and warm are also really like neutral look friendly, because colors tend to like, they want to go with their friends. So like if you pair this with more of the taupey tones, you're gonna get, I think, a little bit more cool. But if you were to really go in with like warm, rosy, bronzy tones, I think the rose gold in this would just pop, like not even, like it would stand out because it's a metallic, not pop as in contrast. So Opulent is a stunning formula. I really enjoy that it's both like textural and sparkly in that way, but then it has pigment to it, so it's not just like a topper kind of shade. I really like those. I find that they can be some of the nicest ones to, I don't know, I really like that. I love toppery shades too, but I think when I have this like one and done concept in my head, the shadows that have texture and pigment do that beautifully. I could not, again, do a neutral video without talking about Unexpected from JD Glow. Unexpected is just, I still lose my breath. I still lose my breath. I also love that shadows will just like completely apply to my hand. Look how gold and warm yet taupey that looks. But then to me, I'm seeing this like pinky purple tone. It's so shiny. It's so like glossy. Obviously there's color there, but it's such a beautiful formula. I would say that like if you put this over a base, it's going to like shine out even more because the particles in the formula get to really attach to the base. Now, I applied this with my finger on my hand that was probably still a little damp, so it did that pretty well, but like this shadow was like game changing to me. Like, do you see, can you get a sense of the touch of the purple? This mirror stuff is so much harder than I remember. I just love this shadow. Yet again, I love that it can go both cool and warm. If you pair this with more purples or taupey tones, you're gonna get more of that. But if you really were to put this with a warm eye, I think you're gonna feel like it's more of a gold. It's such a beautiful formula. It's so shiny. It like shifts, and it's obviously doing some dancing on the eyes, but it's not like a black-based multichrome. And yeah, I have a handful. I have like 2 black-based multichromes in this video, but I find that especially if you're new to the world, to that kind of world, that sometimes those can be really tricky to work with or be a little bit more overwhelming on the eye than you would like. Now, another Clionadh shadow, this is one of their glitter multichromes, and it's called Carving. I always forget what I have because I know there's also a color called, I think, Grisaille that I always think I have, but it's Carving. And Carving is similar to Unexpected in that I see this like pinky purple. Well, this is almost more of like a hot pink base, but then on the camera you're seeing that taupe, almost green shine, and it almost gives you some gold. I need to use Carving more often, but there's something about this that I always think about as like a taupey purple, but it really has a lot of like dimension and shift happening. There we go. There's some of that purple. Yes, and that hot, like warm base. So one thing I will say about the glitter multichromes is that they're not all made equal, and not all of them have as much like pigment and color to them as Carving does. Of course, I like a toppery shade, but a lot of the glitter multichromes that I like the most are ones like Carving, Opulent, you know, that area. The next color I want to talk about is from Divina. Now, I feel like Divina probably actually has a handful of shades, if not more than a handful, that fit into this realm. I think if you were looking at Limelight from JD Glow, that Celesta could probably fill in that spot. I might actually read a little bit more gold. There is a yellowy kind of tone and a peachy tone from their Candy Cakes collection that could work. I don't have the peach one, but I have seen it swatched and it looks very pretty. Mystic Moon Pie is also from the Candy Cakes collection, and I just love this color. I've also talked about Asteria and Messier, and I think those are a little bit more colorful maybe than these, although those are also fun to play with if you are open to like some color shifting. Anyway, for some reason I wanted to just mention Mystic Moon Pie. I think that when I think of like, yet again, taupey, purpley, it's just a color that sticks out to me. Also because the Candy Cakes collection is a little bit more pigmented and shiny. I think that this is yet again a great one and done shadow. You get that warmth that's like almost reading rose gold to me, and then you get, in my opinion, some like taupe shine, but it also has this like warm, has a bit of a warm base in there. It is a very dimensional shadow. It is shiny, but it's also sparkly. So if you're a fan of texture, I would say this is another good one. It's a beautiful shadow that can go super sultry, super shiny. Again, it's another one of those like, yes, please put it on my eyes kind of shades. This next shadow is on the newer side to my collection, and it's one that I have not played with a bunch, but I used it recently in a look and I was like, yeah, I should mention this one. This is Fairy Fire from JD Glow. This is one of their Galaxy shadows. You're getting silver / like taupe, gray on the camera, but it also has this like olive green gold like base happening, and then there is gold sparkle throughout. So you have some smooth shine, but you also have some like glittery shine. It's one of those kind of, yet again, transformative shades. It will look way more green if you pair it with greens. It will look more gold if you were to pair it with like mustard mattes. It will look more dark and smoky if you were to put it over dark mattes or mixed with dark mattes. It's just this weird, interesting color that I think because it's the warm and cool thing again, but it's not just gold warm, it's green gold. So to me, it reads very like grungy, kind of messy, but also neutral, kind of neutral. Now, the bottom row, not the last shadows, but the bottom row in this palette are kind of wild cards. They popped into my head as we went along, so they might not quite fit, like they might fit with other categories, but we're just gonna go through them. And the first one on the bottom row is the other black-based multichrome in this palette, and that is Weld, also from Cleona. Now, you see how that looks like this deep, rosy, bronzy burgundy, but it's also green. Like, it's so bright green in my part of the camera. It's so green, and yet you're not getting like any of that. It's a very dark multichrome. It's a black-based multichrome, but it's a very dark color range. I feel like there is like some black in there almost. Oh, there you can see, like there is like some old gold, and the green is a really strong shift. I'm not getting it. There, yes. So this one is for the the neutral grungy girlies that want to like venture into the multi-chrome world, I feel like even this paired with Vermillion would be beautiful. But Weld in particular is just such an interesting one. And I feel like, you know, the world of multichromes has been incredibly well trodden now. So maybe this one exists in other brands. But I would say if you're like going into the Cliona world, that picking up some that are really unique are kind of what I recommend. Weld, like I said, it's an intense one, but it's just so special, and I think that it would be a fun one to play with and see what your eye shape picks up on. Because, you know, like if you're not into green at all, don't get Weld. I get it. But if you're like into green and you're just curious to see how it would play on your eye, because depending on the curvature, the shape, the depth of your eyes, multichromes are going to look different on everyone. And they're going to look different in different parts of your eyes. So it's why I love them, but it's also why they're a little unpredictable. Now, I grabbed one of the round pan shadows from Cliona. I have quite a few of them, but I think this is one of my only kind of brownie ones. And this one is called Toadstool. It is such a beautiful, like, traditional blue-brown shadow. Like, you know, you might have this already in your collection, but it's such a beautiful color. It's a great, smooth formula. It has this gorgeous, like, red base to it. And I always think of this color as, like, having some green in it. I don't really think it does, but I think it pairs really nicely with greens. It's just such a beautiful color. It's definitely, you could think of it as like a deepening color too if you're open to, like, you know, blending with shimmers. This one deepens things nicely. I feel like the coolness that the blue shift has in it makes this really warm brown a little bit more neutral. It's just a really beautiful color. It's incredibly well loved in my collection. And like, I understand the blue-brown hype. I understand why it's still a very popular choice for palettes and all of that, because it's just a fun but very approachable way to play with color. The last shadow on this row was a little bit of a wild card add-in, but it is still being made by the brand. It's from Touch of Glam, and it's a color called Oil Tycoon. So Oil Tycoon probably could have fit better in with the gold row. It's a gold that, again, has that warm red base, but it's just so shiny. It's a beautiful shadow. I feel like it's just if you're a gold lover, but you're looking for something with a little bit more dimension and something that's less yellow gold, and you could almost say more rose gold, I feel like Oil Tycoon would be a really pretty choice. And this one is not marketed as a multi-chrome or anything like that, but because it has so much depth to it, I think that you get a little bit of that duochrome effect. Now, those are all of the single eyeshadows that I have, but I wanted to mention a whole idea that's like, I think a fun thing to play in if you're a neutral shadow lover, and that is really glittery shadows that have like little to no base. Sometimes I think you could actually play with pressed glitters themselves. So I have 3 that are from different Yes Style products that I've gotten. 2 of them are marketed as actual glitters, and one of them is just like a glittery type shadow. And the palette that has the 2 glitters is still available. I will have it linked. That one will be an affiliate link. But I think that in some capacity, just this concept of like things that don't have a base to them and they just have sparkle and shine, like if you were the kind of person that you do a wing liner every day, you do your black wing liner, you do the rest of your base, and you're good to go, consider putting down one of these shadows first and then doing your wing, or tapping the shadow over just like a blank part of your eye. It will add this dimension or not even dimension, it'll add sparkle and shine, but it won't add dimension. It won't add color usually. I mean, one of these does have color, but like you can play with this concept and add something a little different to your look and do it with like a single shadow or a little potted shadow, or I think there are even some ColourPop like Super Shocks that will do that. Like, it's not about the product in particular that I'm showing you. It's mainly just this idea, this like sheer sparkle. And like this one, it has color and it has bigger chunks of glitter, but these other two are more in the realm of what I'm thinking about, where it's just, you know, close to your skin tone and sparkly. And I think that again, that can be that like baby step into especially if you're more interested in sparkle, shine, and you're not as much like into playing with other colors or a lot of shadows. Like, I understand why Super Shock shadows are popular for this reason alone. Like, Frog is a color that I love from actually that collection that does that for me. It's more of like a pinky translucent one, but I know that there are like people of Ritz and I think that there are a lot, or a handful from that brand, if that's more your realm. But that's another way that I think is a great way to play and just add it on. Doesn't add a whole bunch of time to your routine, and it can really just like make your go-to wing or your simple like matte eye that you do or anything just a little more, a little extra. I'm going to swatch them all together for you just because I want to. Those are them. That is it. That is my neutral eyeshadow recommendation video. I hope you enjoyed, and let me know if you have any neutral singles that you would recommend. You can fill the comments with all kinds of recommendations, because as I've said, as somebody that is not super into neutral looks, this is what I want when I think of neutral. This is my neutral. But I would love to hear what some of y'all love in the single eyeshadow or the like single pot eyeshadow, you know, anything in that realm. I didn't even think about any of the cream shadows I had or anything. Although, I don't really have a lot. But, you know, y'all might have some recommendations. I'm definitely partial to Multichromes, Duochromes, sparkly, textural shadows. I don't know how many different times I've said those words today, but that's what I'm into. That's kind of the recommendations I'm looking for, but there are going to be lots of people looking for all kinds of recommendations, so feel free to give any ones that you want to give. And like I said, I will have everything listed in the description box. I will have things linked outside of the Yes Style links. None of them will be affiliated, but You can always let the brands know that I sent you if you do end up buying anything. Thank you again so much for spending a bit of your day with me, and thank you for, I just said that. And most importantly, take care of yourself better today than you did yesterday, because you are worth it. Bye, friends. Bye, friends. Oh, is there a way to swatch wave? Okay, I'm gonna stop. At least I grabbed it for a second.